All right, we're live. This is Real Friday. So every Friday, Josh, at 12:30 or 11:30 Eastern Standard Time is a show called Real Fridays. And myself, Jeremy Potter, and Brock Cassidy started the show about 3 years now, where we just got right into it. We're all industry experts. Jeremy's a lawyer. Brock is a technologist. I'm a retail mortgage banking executive. And the real strength of what we aimed to accomplish was to really have a roll up the sleeves, brass tacks, industry conversation that was real talk on every Friday to kind of talk about headlines, to address specific, topics of the day, technology, innovation, workflow, market share, rates, whatever the economy, is. And it really resonated. A lot of people over the years have really loved the show. It's one of the most watched shows, if not the most watched show on mortgage, housing, and real estate every Friday. So I love having you on the show. Josh, you and I go back 2007.
That's what I was thinking. I think it's 2007. Yeah.
So this is Josh Bopp. He was the founder of Focus IT. And now the founder of Aduvo, which is a leading sales and marketing automation platform for loan officers. Dude, welcome to the show, man. I love connecting with you, and gosh, it's been a long time.
Yeah, same. Appreciate the opportunity to be on the show, and we got reconnected a couple weeks ago. Hadn't talked in a bit, but always enjoy our conversations.
So Focus IT. So let's rewind, because I want to hit on Aduvo, because CRM in sales and marketing automation and AI is really going to be the accelerator of mortgage business, sort of the mortgage ecosystem today, right? It's going to give the loan officer a competitive advantage, and so I think you're entering in a really good time in the market, because I think there's a lot of holes in the CRM ecosystem. So I have a lot of opinions, on this. But tell me about Focus IT. So when did you start the company in? And I know we connected in 2007. How many years had the company been in together, or have been sort of up?
So I opened the business in 2002, really as a traditional field service, like managed service shop, right? So installing servers and workstations in any little mom and pop shop we could get, crawling under desks and server rooms and things like that. And by about 2004, really had developed a niche of mortgage companies here in Phoenix locally, right? So this is obviously pre-2008 kind of stuff and the crash. And man, it was a real estate Wild West out here. Things were really cooking. And then obviously mortgages is a ride along to a hot real estate market. So anyway, by 2004, that's pretty much all we were doing was field service work for local Phoenix-based mortgage companies. And then about the time I met you, we had started a hosting operation to enable, net branches at the time, right, was kind of the buzzword, but the ability for people to work from home, work from different states, and see the same data set from a loan origination system, Genesis, Contour, Point, Data Track, right? All those early names.
I haven't heard that in a long time. Genesis and Contour. That's incredible.
Yeah. So we would host it, right? We put it in our data center, and that enabled them to stop emailing files back and forth. Like that was what they did, right? If you had a processor and what's that?
Did you ever do Citrix, or was it?
Yeah, we did. Yep. 100%. Yeah, kind of before things were, I don't know if cloud aware is the right word, but able to be truly hosted in the cloud. That's how we delivered all of those LOSs with Citrix. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Because at that time, that's when Ellie Mae had bought Lasso technology out of Michigan, and they put Encompass in a Citrix environment, and then they brought that in-house. And then that's when when I was at Calyx, we started to design and develop Point Data Server, and then we needed a hosting provider for PDS or Point Data Server, and then I don't know how you and I connected, or it was, but
I actually think that I was thinking about this day. I think we met at, or you met one of my coworkers at a local Arizona. Trade show, right? Conference, right? And we had a booth, and what are you guys doing? And I was like, oh, we're hosting Point. Like, what's that? I work for Calix. So anyway, that kind of started the conversation because we were essentially web enabling Point before Point Central even existed using Citrix.
No, that's incredible because that caught on really fast. I know at the time we were in need of that kind of a solution, and to enable the scale of mortgage companies at the time, especially in 06 and 07 and leading into 08. It was all about growth and adding loan officers and trying to, download that one instance of Point, and then
Yep.
be able to spread it to
57 times.
people. But no, so we had that relationship for a while, and you still have that relationship.
That's right.
That was a really
Focus
successful
IT is still a going operation. I don't really spend any time in that entity anymore, but we still host a couple thousand mortgage companies on Point Central to this day. So still kicking.
No, I think that's of all the tech companies that have sort of come and gone in the business, you've been a really steady Eddie, steady growth, incremental growth type company, which no boom, but no bust either. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that, and your customers have really benefited from that kind of stability, because it's kind of a sign up, and forget it kind of solution, because it was always trusted and always up, and you were able to sort of support the origination activities. I think that's amazing. So at what point in time did you identify sort of the market opportunity, or when was it when you said, it's time you want to do a CRM? Actually,
yeah.
We bought, so in 2010, what was the name of the company we bought out of Vermont?
Status Sweep.
And so the evolution of Focus IT was you partnered with Calix, you established your Point data server, and then in 2010 or 11, you bought Status Sweep, which was what? A document management solution?
A little bit. It was mostly about loan status alerts. That was the core of their product, is you would status a file. I think it was only Point Central. I don't think it worked with any other LOSs, but you would status a file in your LOS, hit the save button, and within 30 minutes, they would send an email to the borrower and the realtor that the status had changed, right? Really, really basic, but very effective. And there just wasn't a solution for that in the market at the time.
That's fascinating. And then you evolved from there. Fill in the gap between 2011 and COVID.
Sure.
Was it? So what was the evolution?
So we were slow and steady on the hosting front, right? Just like you said, incremental growth every year. Survived 08, came out of the other side of that. And in 2013, we created a mortgage-specific CRM called Pulse, and was really designed to work exclusively with the applications that we hosted in our data center. It really wasn't meant for the wider mortgage market. And really, it grew to a couple thousand users, something like that. So it was decent size, represented maybe, I don't know, 20% or so of our revenue and of our user base. And that really took us up to about 2020 and the beginnings of COVID. And I just really saw that as an opportunity for better growth, right? It's like, hey, how do we take Pulse, our CRM, and make it talk to all of the modern LOSs that are in the market, right? Everything that was more web-centric, API-driven, and came to the realization pretty quickly that that product wasn't going to be the product to do that. It was written at a time and with an architecture that was very specific to our data set that we hosted. So to make it talk to an API-centric LOS, it was going to just be a monumental undertaking. So what we did is we kind of used it as an opportunity to step back. Like, okay, well, if we're going to rewrite it anyway, because I still had the idea that I wanted to proceed with this, why don't we talk to current and former Pulse customers and just people in the market in general about what'd you love, what'd you hate, right? Like what did we get right and what did we get wrong with Pulse? And the message that kept coming back over and over and over again was, hey, we loved all the automations you built. We loved all the hands-free, hands-off automations that were there, but we didn't really use the other stuff. The tasks and the calendars and the inputting leads and the routes and all of the other bells and whistles. It was great, but it was too complicated. It wasn't for us. So we used that business knowledge as the foundation for what became Aduvo. So we wrote it from scratch, but it really was all of that business knowledge and industry capital that we had earned through the years of just surviving all this and talking to customers, and built it from the ground up, really just to be that hands-free approach. Like, hey, if you want the lightweight CRM, the marketing automation pieces that were Pulse, but in a much better package, that's essentially what Aduvo became. But anyway, but through the beginnings of COVID, it was really Point Central Hosting and Pulse. And then we spent a couple of years creating this product, and then launched it in early 2024.
No, that's incredible. That's well, so that evolution makes a lot more sense, and it's the most Josh Bopp kind of evolution ever, to kind of be patient, to listen, to not jump the gun, not get too far ahead of yourself.
I rarely put it all on black.
Yeah. Well, I love, I do remember Pulse. I remember Pulse well, and it was a good CRM. And at the time, there was a number of Velma, and there was a number of these, small CRM. The CRM space has been really, really fractured over the years. There was always Salesforce and that kind of thing, but Salesforce was always such an enterprise play, such a custom play, but it wasn't really an effective deployed scalable play in the space. Mortgage companies just didn't adopt it by and large or in mass. That was top of mind, of course, but they weren't really a CRM. It was more of a status update using videos as opposed to emails and text messages, using sort of video to give people an idea of the status of the file. But the mortgage market, the CRM is kind of a graveyard, right? It really has been. It's been a lot of companies who saw a very short window of opportunity, and then they weren't able to have the kind of distance and go the distance in the way that Focus IT has been able to perform under. Obviously we have, there's a handful at NFM. We're on Total Expert, and I think it's obviously a good platform. But we get the same, comments from loan officers that you feel like you're driving a Mercedes and you don't necessarily want all the bells and whistles, because you don't either use them, or you're paying for a lot of stuff that you simply aren't leveraging. And it doesn't mean that they couldn't, with education, do that, but that requires additional costs and time and energy to work with your loan officers to actually use features that in some cases or many cases they won't. So in your listening tour with your customers, what would you say what was the key like the outcomes of those conversations?
The best experience that we gave them and the happiest customers we had were those that didn't log into our product, right? So that on the Pulse side, and really that's what Aduvo is all about, but on Pulse, once you got a certain amount of campaigns configured and running and operational, it just ran, right? Like it would read the loan file as new loans came in and deliver content based on loan status, based on birthdays, holidays, whatever it was. But it was a lot of effort to get there. And that's really what we tried to streamline with Aduvo. But just really what we heard is we don't want to log into one more thing. Like we don't want to have to go status things, have to go touch things, have to go input things. We're already doing that in multiple systems as it is, right? The LOS is just one of other many touch points they need to transact a file from A to Z. So anyway, that's really what they wanted, is something that they didn't have to log into and didn't have to use, and then get the benefits from it without the effort put into it.
And so that led you to build like a whole new requirements doc? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it was really, let's take the best elements of Pulse. It's got some things, Aduvo has some things that Pulse didn't, but let's take the best elements of Pulse and put it into an onboarding experience that's really low touch. That's probably the biggest difference between the two platforms. Once deployed, you'd get a lot of the same benefits from Pulse that you would from Aduvo, but the effort to deploy it, like many CRMs, was weeks, right? Months in some cases. versus hours with Aduvo, right? From A to Z, you are live in hours.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's almost unheard of. I can't even imagine a platform that could be up and running in hours. Does it integrate with like Calyx and Compass and your LOS platforms? Like, tell me what's
We
the
got
interoperability?
kind of lose count, but I think we've got 8 or 9 LOSs that we integrate with, and
Oh, wow.
adding about one a quarter. We're pretty much through all of the major small market, mid market LOSs. I mean, if you're on it, we're probably talking to it.
That's really amazing. And then once you set it up, is there specific like workflows that you, from a sales and marketing standpoint, that you configure? Like, how is it?
You can configure it. Yeah. I mean, certainly we have more sophisticated, tech savvy customers that will build their own campaigns, and I think we're even missing a couple on there, but build their own campaigns and create those workflows. But that's part of the onboarding experience. Why it's so tight is we've pre-built all those, right? So the kind of the 3 tenets of the product: one are the integration. So we've got your data where you can ingest your data for you. 2 is that we write and maintain all the content. That's just a big differentiator that we sell to our customers. And as part of that, we send it to external compliance to make sure we're not saying something that we shouldn't. But we also build the campaign that goes with it, right? So all of those pieces of the campaign that, who does it need to go to? When does it need to trigger? We build those. So during onboarding, our customers really just reviewing that content and saying, yep, I want that campaign. Yep, I want that one. Yep, I want that one. They hang up the phone. We talk to their LOS provider. And from there, we ingest all of the historical loans. That's it, right? They don't have to ever log in again to Aduvo if they don't want.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And so how long have you been live with the current version of the product?
About 18 months. Be 2 years in April.
And what problems do you see? Like, obviously the customers that are using Aduvo today are choosing to use yours and not other CRM platforms. So the question is, like, what is it that they're choosing over existing platforms and going to you? Like, what is it that what are you serving that they're not?
Sure.
Or what is it that you're serving that they might be, but you're just doing it better?
Yeah. I mean, a couple things. One, there's 3 big market competitors, if you will. One is the mortgage specific CRMs that have marketing functions in them, and we have lots of our customers that have tried those, but typically they abandon it due to complexity, right? They're designed to have internal dedicated marketing teams running the marketing components, and it's too big, complicated to run it. Mass markets, right? Salesforce and HubSpots and Constant Contacts, all that. They're great, but they don't have any content and they don't have any data. So it's all up to you to figure it out. So what most of our customers have done is tried one or all 3 of those segments and decided too big, too expensive. I'm just going to send emails in Outlook, right? I mean, the number one competitive product that we displace and we deploy is Outlook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's really people who just want a core functioned contact management and marketing solution that they can control, that they can understand, that doesn't overwhelm them with a bunch of features that they're not going to use, and they're able to implement immediately, and get going and as fast as you possibly can from a time to market standpoint.
That's right. Yep. So we always include a free trial in the beginning, but mostly because people don't believe us. It's like, I've heard this story, right? You can't deploy this in an hour. Like, it's impossible. So let's just take a deep breath. So, okay, no problem. We're going to give you 30 days free. And in that time, we're going to ingest all your data. You're going to turn on half a dozen campaigns that almost all of our customers turn on. And you're going to have probably 2 touch points to all of your borrowers and all of your realtor partners in that 30-day window. And then they come back and they're like, wow, it worked, right? I mean, the bar is low.
Well, I think that I think loan officers and companies as a whole are just tired of platforms that either cost too much money or they underdeliver on the features that are there, and so those features just simply go underutilized. and they just want a system that works.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and
simple.
we're after that part of the market, right? I mean, if you're always consuming new tech and love to have your hands in every single part of your CRM, you're probably pretty well served by products that are in the market. But the customers that we're after are those that truly want to be set and forget it and improve their repeat business rates, right? It's like, how do I get to my past borrowers? How do I get to my realtor partners with consistency? I know I need to do it, and it's just too hard. I don't have a full-time marketer. I don't want to maintain this stuff myself. Like, how do I get there?
Now, is there any portals or any touch points or connections to realtors, builders, or consumers themselves, or is this
Not yet. Yes,
strictly a
it's
facing
yeah, it's
solution?
really just loan officer facing solution at this point. We do co-brand a lot of our content with the realtors, depending on what type of campaign it is. We do intend to build a realtor portal in the near future that can handle some of those things, but really, it's meant to be a solution that you don't log into, right? We kind of joke internally that every login's a failure in our world. So if you're logging into Aduvo, you're probably not a happy Aduvo customer.
So when you say, repeat that again, if you log into Aduvo, you're probably not a happy Aduvo customer because
You're
you.
having to do something, right? It's like, why did my campaign not run? Why did I X, Y, or Z, right? So our happiest customers. So the day after a campaign runs, we send them what we call our day after report, but it hits their email inbox and it says, all right, here's what we sent. Here's who we sent it to. Here's who clicked on it. Here's who opted out, right? So again, the whole idea of just push, right? You don't need to log into our product to use our product. It's happening for you on your behalf all the time.
No, I just the simplicity of it is so refreshing, and obviously people look, getting the business is hard enough, right? So being able to maintain the business and maintain the touch points should be easy, or you want it
Yeah,
to be easy because
you want it to be easy.
there's already so much that's hard, right?
Yep.
Um, and so what are your thoughts on AI? Like, what are your thoughts on the direction of AI and how that's going to impact either Aduvo or CRM solutions as a whole?
It's interesting. Our AI journey, we'll start with content, right? So
Yeah.
in the fall, we've got content creators with a compliance check where you just a few prompts can begin a campaign. Our goal is to make it as simple to write your own campaigns as it is to turn hours on. Because right now you still have to figure out how to write the stuff, right? And how to schedule it and what's the cadence. So really trying to simplify that for the loan officer, for those that do want to create their own content, to make it as simple as possible. But I think the real power, and I don't have a crystal clear strategy on how we get there, but is to help them analyze their own data and then be able to execute things autonomously or at least human in the loop to say, hey, have you thought of X, Y, and Z? Because we've got all this data, right? We've got
Yep.
pretty much the entire loan history from whatever LOS they're on, and in a lot of cases, past LOSs. We've had customers that have onboarded with us that have brought in 3 different LOSs sitting in spreadsheets plus whatever they're on today. So, kind of that single source of truth for their whole mortgage life. So being able to give them insights into that data, I think is really the future of where I want Aduvo to go. But I think that's where any good data provider, any good CRM needs to go, is to really be that ride along personal assistant that tells them exactly insights that they need to know about inside that data.
It may not be a bad idea. There's different partnerships that you could potentially partner with to attain, the loan officer data, or maybe some consumer past closed loan data that's in the marketplace. There's different solutions like Bretter, for instance, RETR that I use pretty religiously around just the data. It would be more like if I wanted to look at every closed loan that was done over the last 5 years within my MSA, broken down by zip code. Ultimately, in a perfect world, I would take all that closed loan data, and this is data that I didn't do. This is just every loan that was done in Scottsdale,
Mm-hmm.
Dump it into a database, have some way of being able to attain the email address and or the cell phone number of the consumer, and then be able to have a system to kind of hit that database, have people opt in or opt out, and then be able to to be able to engage with them on opportunities. Because if somebody did a loan 3 years ago, their rates, or 2 years ago, their rates probably at 7% or 6.75%. They're probably sitting on, $200,000 worth of equity.
Mm-hmm.
And as a lender, I want to be able to identify, know where the rate is, market to that consumer, and then to give them an opportunity, like a product opportunity, to say, hey, are you looking at buying an investment property? Well, we got a product for that. You're looking at refinancing and maybe taking some cash out, or doing a home equity line of credit. Great. We have products for that as well. But being able to have a system to do that outbound and that engagement with the consumer, I think would be really valuable, and those are partnerships that potentially could be established, because right now, like a lot of the CRM companies, nobody really has, in my view, most of which tend to be, unless you have the staff to really, which is expensive, but unless you have the staff to manage a more complicated CRM, most companies simply don't have that, and so they end up buying too much and using too little.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And I see Eduvo as being a product that really could fit in that market niche, which is really the bulk of the market. I mean, there's 28,000 or so non-depository lenders out there, and there's another maybe 4,000 or 5,000 depository. So we're looking at a total. It's a huge audience of 33,000 or so companies, and there's a lot of individual LOs that simply aren't doing anything with their past client database, even in today's day and age.
Yep.
So do you look at yourself as a solution that would be used? Who's your target audience? Is it brokers? Is it small to mid-sized mortgage banks, small to mid-sized credit unions and community banks, all the above? What would you say?
All the above. I mean, really, the customer that we're after is one that doesn't have a full-time marketing team, right? Now that's the core of our answer, because we're providing tech, but we're also providing the content and the knowledge that goes with it, right? So the campaigns are written for specific audiences, for specific purposes, in the way that an internal marketing team would typically deliver that in larger organizations. But we don't really care if it's an individual loan officer in a team of 2,000 or a team of 2, so long as they have the autonomy to make that marketing purchase decision.
No, that's incredible. What would you say to be the key ingredients for growth? Is it just product awareness? Is it just getting in the hands of individual LOs? Or is it, can an LO use this without necessarily, corporates, sponsorship? Like, is it a top-down approach, going to the CIO or to the IT manager or the head of marketing, and then having it deployed across loan officers? Or is it something that individual LOs adopt and then begin to use, and then it sort of catches fire across the organization, and then it becomes something that the organization just sponsors?
Yeah, it's really the latter at the moment, where we've got some early conversations on more of that top-down approach, but most of our buyers today are individual originators making that decision themselves. And in almost all instances, they have the autonomy and authority to make that purchasing decision and hook it into their LOS. Some will still sign up and maybe run an export to Excel and import it, so at least they can drip market to their past. But the happiest customers are those that we can tap right into that LOS, because it's just so much faster and simpler.
No, that's I agree with you on that. I mean, I think you'll get a lot of traction for sure within the individual LOs. Look, there's one of the fastest growing segments in the business right now, obviously, is the brokers wholesale community. I mean, that's gone from 11-12% from 2011 or 12 down up to about 30% now. And that's growing rapidly. And in what it's doing, like the enterprise lenders like us or others are going to be fine, because there's scale, there's tremendous investments in tech and that sort of thing. But where it's sort of consolidating is really in the small to mid-size IMBs, because they're either being acquired by top 10, top 20 IMBs, or they're sort of descending into the wholesale and being absorbed within the wholesale ranks. And you're finding, you're discovering a lot of these mortgage companies that are quote unquote in the broker community being, that are used Rive, or they're connected to UWM or Rocket. These guys are growing large. Those guys
they
are
are
growing really, really large,
Yep.
So we're seeing kind of a bimodal distribution where you have this rapidly growing subset on the quote unquote bottom end of the market, and then you're seeing the very top end of the market getting a lot larger, and then the middle of the market is just getting squeezed.
Yeah.
But I do think that the growth on the top and on the bottom, which is evolving into the mid markets of the industry, could really benefit from a solution like yours.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly our thesis, and our hope is that those customers that have typically tried other things and just decided, hey, this is too big, too expensive, too complicated, I don't have a marketing team to run it, I give up, right? We're in the business of solving that pain point for the I have given up crowd. And you asked a question earlier, what's one of our bigger challenges to adoption? It's really awareness. When people show up to a demo, about 50% of the time they turn into customers, right? They know right away if we're for them, because we don't really hold any punches and pretend that we're something we're not, right? So if you are sending those one-off emails, those one-off text messages to your borrowers, to your realtors, to your business partners, and you're tired of it, like, we're a breath of fresh air. And if you're looking for 50 different CRM features and lead routings and round robins, you know what? That's not the business that we're in.
No, I think that and what about call centers? Would this at all be something that could be configured so that consumer direct loan officers who really have the same goal of staying in contact with their consumers, could this be used, by a consumer direct loan officer?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be used for call routing and hey, I've got a lead distribution, all that kind of stuff. But certainly on the follow-up side, I mean, the second a piece of data hits your system, we can get that data and market to it, right? That's really the core of what we do. So we don't really care where the data comes from. The LOS is obviously the best source of historical loan data and new loan applications, but we've got integrations with lead providers. We've got integrations with a couple AI startups who want us to do some monitoring. And anyway, the short answer is yes. I mean, we can be for that crowd if they're looking to do kind of full life cycle nurturing of that relationship with those borrowers.
It seems like you're really starting out really aggressively. I love that. I mean, it seems like the setup is fairly easy. So when it comes to like support staff and that sort of thing, it seems like you have probably a fairly efficient crew to be able to support lenders that or individual loan officers who adopt the solution. It's so funny. The days of big setup fees and big, system configurations are just over, and they almost have to be over, right? Because it just, remember the, mid 2000, 2010, 12, 14, 15, there was always like the setup fee of, $2,000, $5,000, $3,000, $7,000. And then there was always the 90-day implementation.
Well, yeah, there was. You always started with the discovery meeting, right? Okay, what are your business goals and objectives, and then you had to come up with the strategy and the plan. Okay, here's the roadmap to get you live by July 1st, right? Anyway. That's not what we built.
No. Are you priced out like on a per user per month, or is it a per closed loan, or how do you price it out?
It's per user per month. So we charge per loan officer per month, and then we don't charge for support staff. So if you've got an assistant or branch manager, whomever who's not producing, you might have
an LOA or something that supports you in your marketing needs. So there might be a one user instance. No, that's incredible. I love it. I mean, it's a question of growth. I mean, there's a handful of CRMs that are out there, but it seems like I mean, there's the one dominant one, right? There's the elephant in the room
Mhm.
with Total Expert, and then there's kind of everybody else. There's a lot of sort of small players. It seems like more mature players like yours, because you're not a startup company. I mean, it's a new product to a legacy company that's almost, that's 20 years old, right?
Yep. Mhm.
So you have a lot more seniority, patience, experience, capital to be able to really run the distance that a lot of these startup companies simply don't have. And that's
Yeah.
a huge advantage. In your huge advantage in your on your court. No, man, I love to see. I'm excited to see where this goes for sure. You're headquartered in Scottsdale, Arizona, and right now your go-to-market strategy is largely. Are you going to conferences? Any conferences?
Conferences, webinars. So we do a lot of webinars. We've got a decent sized database of our own from our sister company Focus IT, but also partner with NAM, partner with our LOS partners. That's how we kind of get the word out, and really just picking up the phone, right, calling originators and asking them what they're doing to stay in touch with their past clients.
No, that's fantastic. I love it. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to. Are you going to any conferences in the near term?
Oh my goodness, I got to think about that.
Are you going to the
I think the
gathering? We
next
talked
one,
about that. Are you going to attend the gathering?
I am going to go to the gathering. There'll be there's a Calix users conference we're going to go to in April.
Yeah,
I think those are probably the next two.
Because I'm going to be going to the gathering, and then the Texas Mortgage Bankers Association conference is in the days prior to the gathering. You might want to attend that conference. That's a great conference, and obviously Texas is like the third largest.
Yeah,
probably third
yeah.
largest.
I mean, just historically from Focus IT days, California, Texas, Florida, right? I mean, those three account for probably 40% of our customers. So any time we can spend in those three spots is usually time well spent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I'm definitely looking forward to this. So I definitely want to keep in touch. I definitely maybe I wouldn't mind maybe midsummer having you back on, maybe in 3 or 4 months, have you back on to kind of gauge the progress and how
Sure.
how things are going with you. It'd be great to even. I'd love to actually see a demo of it. We can record a demo, for the audience that watches this show. But the CRM wars are definitely heating up, and I think you're gonna make it a much hotter place, to be. So I'm looking forward to seeing your progress.
Yeah, appreciate it, Rick. Appreciate being invited on the show, and always love chatting too. So it's a long time we've known each other, a long time in the industry, seen lots of changes.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I think there's a huge need for your product, and I think you're going to see a lot of traction. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for coming on the show, my friend.
Yeah, same. Appreciate the opportunity.
We'll talk to you soon.
You got it.